You're constantly being judged. You get challenged and it's good for you. Not always comfortable, but you get comfortable with being uncomfortable.
Sir Kenneth Branagh would frankly prefer it if you just called him Ken. The Northern Irish boy who has become synonymous with big Shakespearean productions has had a lot of ups and downs. He struggled to get into the Royal Academy of Dramatic Arts, only to be hailed at the age of 26 as the next Laurence Olivier, only to be slammed for a string of high-profile flops, only to be nominated for multiple Oscars. And now he is back, starring and directing in the iconic crime thriller Murder on the Orient Express.
I'm Mark, lovely to meet you.
Thanks, Mark. Nice to see you.
Hey, cameraman!
So, much has been made of Murder on the Orient Express's cavalcade of stars, but I think the one I was most fascinated by is an old mate of yours, which is Judi Dench. Judi Dench gave an award out to you not that long ago, and she revealed something that I'd like to give you a right of reply to. Apparently she'd hurt her ankle.
I fell down and twisted my ankle.
And she was out on stage.
So I went on and I did the whole performance. And at the end,
You spoke in her ear, and I'm just going to get the quote right.
quite loudly in my ear, Ken Branagh said,
Get off the stage, you limping bitch.
"Get off the stage, you limping bitch."
Did you really say that to Judi Dench?
I think that she was very obsessively self-concerned at that stage, and she heard what she wanted to hear.
Right.
She's always encouraged, a fruitful bit of banter between us. And she, actually, what I do remember, of course, she was in terrible, terrible pain, but she just got in and did it. The one thing she never wants, actually, is a fuss made. So she was very, very embarrassed, but it was just clear as anything she was going to go on. And on Orient Express, she was. Not only was she very helpful to everybody else, if anybody, why should they be, I don't know, but if anybody was nervous about working with me, she sorted that out because she was so rude to me in front of everyone, so
Wonderful.
Disrespectful, and took none of my notes. And she was also kind of den mother to everybody.
Avenger of the innocent. Is that what they call you in the papers?
And you are innocent?
You're fun.
Very early on in your career, really when you were very, very young, there was lots of comparisons made to Laurence Olivier, and of course you played him. And I'm wondering, at that time of your life, when you were getting those comparisons, there was a lot of commentary around you. Were you comfortable with the comparison?
It was unreal. You're not really equipped to have that level of scrutiny or expectation. Expectation's a terrible thing, I think. Maybe subliminally addressing this in a different way was producing more and more work, because you're conscious that you're being compared to somebody who'd had a whole lifetime's career.
Now is the winter of our discontent.
I just, as best I could, I got on with whatever I could get on with, and I've no doubt got neurotic about plenty of it. But basically, the easy answer was one foot in front of the other.
As a performer, were you good at auditioning?
Came and went, actually, to be perfectly honest. Sometimes you would get all prepared, and then you'd just sort of blow it. The atmosphere would go. I remember walking into a room once, I'd got everything ready, I was going to blow them away. He said, "Oh, no, you're not what we want at all."
Good start.
Good start. Or an audition I went to for something where it seemed to me there wasn't a part for me in this thing, but anyway, they said, "No, they're dying to see you." And again, walked in, thought, well, I'll give it a go. And as I walked in, the director said, "There's nothing for you in this, but we thought we'd get you in to have a look at you." You started to develop either a kind of enjoyment of the gladiatorial kind of contest of it, but sometimes none of that works. And I don't know if I've told this story before, but years ago I read a script. I thought, this is just the most terrific script I've read ever. It was The Insider,
The Al Pacino
and Russell Crowe. In a fit of foolery, I thought that I could play the part that eventually Russell would play. Probably me and the rest of the world. Anyway, I screamed and wrote and whatever and said, please, would Michael Mann see me? Could he see me? Would he even think of seeing me for this thing? Well, they think they're going to go to Russell. Whatever. I said, well, let me get in the door. And I remember it was a wonderful experience of a complete and utter stone wall. Michael Mann very sweetly had agreed to see me, but was about as interested in me playing that part as I am in eating this sofa. And the course of the meeting was, can I read for you? Can I read for you? He said, don't you read for me? I said, but I could do it, and I could do it now, I could do it in the accent. He says, no, really, I don't want to, I don't think you're right for this part. But I think I could be really right. And so it went on, it was 10 minutes. After which, I must say, I started laughing, I shook his hand, I said, well, thanks very much for the opportunity anyway. And I rang my agent on the way out, say well done to Russell, I think he's going to be brilliant in this part. But, you know, that's, and it was just, at least, you know, I'd had a go, but it was never going to happen.
When does it grind you down? Because there is a point at which that has to have an emotional impact.
I remember June 2000, Essex House Hotel, New York, Central Park South, waking up, reading the review for our film of Love's Labour's Lost. It was a disaster. It was the latest in a series of terrible reviews for it. And that didn't feel very nice, you know, that did feel like, ooh, at least on a professional level, that was, you know, if not ground down, I felt as though I'd been a few rounds in the creative ring, and I was going to have to sit up for a couple of rounds. With something like that, you learn to mark your own scorecard. Do you think it's a good film yourself? Yes, you do. Is it okay that other people don't like it? It's fine, you know. You get to that position, I think, you necessarily pretty quickly, because the hurts or the wounds are just personal. They're, you know, nobody gets hurt except you, and it's only, you know, sometimes it's just ego, and sometimes you're sad that something you care about hasn't been shared by more people. Sometimes it takes a little while for you to get ready to get back on the horse, but you do, because that's what you've always done. One of the things about being in a job where you're constantly being judged, and it's never going to be, you know, that kind of slow upward movement. You'll hit, you know, blocks, and there'll be disappointments. You get challenged, and it's good for you. Not always comfortable, but you get comfortable with being uncomfortable.
Ken, thanks so much.
Thanks a lot, man.
Really appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Thanks a lot.